Hey everyone, it's Joel Ellison with Pinnacle Gunsmithing. Before we get into the video today, I just want to do a few quick notes. I want to thank every one of our subscribers and everyone who views our videos. Thanks for sticking with us. It's been a while since we posted anything, but we have been affected by the Table Rock wildfires happening right here in South Carolina. In fact, Table Rock is literally right outside our door. But we did have to relocate for a very short time, but we're back in the shop and everything's up and going. I want to give a huge shout out of thanks to all the firefighters and first responders that were working that fire and helping contain it. As of right now, when I'm recording this, it's about 70% contained, but we want to thank them from the bottom of our hearts, because without our building, without our house, really none of this would have happened. None of all this, the whole business, the whole YouTube channel, everything. In any case, let's go ahead and get into the subject of the video today. All right, here we have a Springfield M1A that came in the door here recently, set up very nicely. Let's start out here on the tip. Big old flash hider. We've got a National Match front sight. We have a big Harris bipod. And yes, if you're noticing I'm struggling with the weight a little bit, it's because this thing's about 15 pounds. Yeah, she's a chunky girl. We've got our very nice tiger stripe camo job. No, I didn't do this one particular job, but whoever did, it is top notch. In any case, we also have our loophole Mark IV scope on here. It's a really nice piece of glass, adjustable parallax. We got illuminated reticle, big lens caps, and all color coordinated with the whole package here. Going back on the stock, we also have a nice big chunky cheek riser, and this is just a piece of moleskin on the top, just to kind of raise your eye up to the scope. As with all M1As, we have a nice little shoulder support, and that's a nice touch for when you're sitting for long periods in the grass or in the rocks or wherever you're at. M1A is pretty much based on the M14. It's a semi-automatic civilian legal version of it in .308 Winchester or 7.62 by 51 millimeter. If you're petty and pedantic, like me. But in any case, we have a action that looks a lot like an M1 Garand or M1 carbine. Pardon the noise of the background, that's Powder. She's probably getting into something, I don't know what. In any case, not important. We have our rotating bolt, exposed locking lugs. I'm going to take you through some of this rifle, and I'll show you some reasons why they're not as popular as they once were, even among long-range shooters, even among the super dedicated folks who were kids when these things came out, and other fans of that particular period. But let's get into it. Stand by. All right. So, I've already taken the liberty of dismounting the scope. It goes back on quite easily and is held in place by this big chunky rail. It attaches down here to the receiver, and two more attachment points, one up here just behind the chamber, and one more up here where the stripper clip guide would be. Yes, this particular rifle in the year 2025 is still set up for stripper clips, even though it takes box magazines that are replaceable, and yeah, for reasons. In any case, we have our bolt handle here, and to make sure the chamber's empty, just gonna pull it right back, and we have our lock back system right back there. I just push that down, and it's locked open. Chamber's clear, and yeah, that's a lot of spring pressure. Don't put your fingers in there. All right, our first step in the real disassembly is to take the stock off. Well, first, before that, we actually need to make sure the rifle is cocked, which pulling the bolt back will make sure that is, and also make sure the safety is off. This is off. This is on. But in any case, all I did was pull back on this trigger guard, and that pivots forward, allowing us to take the entire fire control group out. I might get back into that a little bit later. And then, once that's out, much like an M1 Garand, I can simply lift the stock off. And that takes care of a lot of the bits and bobs. We can see from the inside of the stock, there's not much left inside here. Sometimes these are glass bedded, particularly for very accurate target rifles. That is a service we offer, but this one particular one is not, which honestly there's not a whole lot you gain by doing that, especially for the average shooter. I know I can't really get much benefit out of it, but maybe you can. We'll see. In any case, let's stand by and I'll reposition the camera so I can show you the rest of the action that we're working on here. Stand by. Okay, from here we can see the bottom of the receiver. We have our iron sight back there, and yeah, this is quite a chunk. All right, our next step is going to be to remove the recoil spring that's housed inside of here. There is a little bit of a pin, as you can see, a little bit of a roll pin sticking up. I'm just going to pull that back towards me, and we'll be able to take the recoil spring out. Just going to ease a little tension. That way this entire guide rod does not fly off across the room or into my face. Alright, there's our guide rod. There's the spring. Let's go ahead and keep those together. And like most parts on this whole rifle, this thing's chunky. This is not a light piece of steel. Okay, with that out of the way, we can kind of move the charging handle back. And from here, make sure you can see a little bit of a cutout right here underneath. There, let me readjust the light. There, underneath the rear sight, I'm going to move the little square piece that's on the charging handle into that gap and be able to get the charging handle out the side, and from there I can get it out of the rifle. I can just barely kind of feel it. Kind of have to fiddle with it a little bit to make sure you can get correct purchase on it. Stand by, I'll be right back. Sorry for the interruption there, folks. I just had to get it up and into my face to get it out of the groove. But now that it is out of the groove, we can kind of slide it off. And there's our whole charging handle slash movement tube. Alright, and now we can see the bolt has been freed from the charging handle. I can kind of grab the roller here and fish it out of the rifle. Yes, there is a roller bearing on the side of this. The original M1 carbines slash M1 Garands did not have that particular feature, but that's progress and innovation for you from the U.S. government. These are the locking lugs of the entire bolt. This is pretty much what makes it safe to fire a big old high-powered 308 cartridge out of this thing, but in any case. Another neat feature while we're here is that you remember the recoil spring? Reason why it's shaped like this, actually this side is up from your perspective, but the reason it's shaped like this is so that this end actually hooks onto the front end of the magazine as you rock and lock it back in. And the magazine release is back here on the trigger group. And yeah, it's pretty much an M1 Garand trigger all over again. Is it complicated? Yes. Does it result in a very nice trigger pull that's two-stage? Yes. Are there perhaps more cost-effective ways to do that? Yeah, there definitely are. In any case, moving on, let's get to the gas system. The gas system is what gets people in a lot of trouble on these. When they made the M14, It gave, instead of the M1 Garand's like internal four-sided lobe system, they gave this an external hex. That's 3/8 inch, and also a finger knurled portion. This particular one I just cleaned, so it comes out nice and easy. Sometimes you have to use a bit of force and torque in order to make this come out correctly. And from there, we just take out our plug, and we have a bit of a figure 8 piece. I'm not sure what the correct nomenclature is on this, but give me a shout out in the comments if you know it. Yeah, this just locks this big gas block in place. And yes, it's threaded on the outside of the barrel, way far back from the muzzle for reasons. And this particular one also can slide off. This is the gas block. There are some flats on the top side of the barrel and a key that this slides into. And yeah, this whole thing comes off. From here, you can also take out the gas piston. This is a short stroke gas piston. And the piston comes right out. If you'll notice, there is a flat on this side, and it's also where the internal gas port of the piston is. Yeah, it's completely hollow all the way down to about this point, and the gas impinges on this, forces the piston downwards to interact with the charging handle. It pops it right there, imparts momentum, and once this moves past the port in the gas block, the gas can vent out the bottom of the block here through this hole right here. But in any case, those two items are kind of captive on the barrel, and we can kind of move this handguard out of these little grooves here on the barrel, and then this comes out. And as you can see, it's just a piece of plastic. Very 1960s of them, or 1950s and 60s. The only other part here is a support piece for the charging handle, the front side of the charging handle. We saw that a minute ago. But yeah, it's just roll pinned in place. It really doesn't interact with the barrel much other than that. It's there for support. We have a flat section underneath the barrel just to make room for all the moving bits inside of here. And underneath the handguard, this is actually a pretty light barrel for .308. There's lots of doodads and bits and bobs on here, but yeah, it's really quite light and tends to kind of bend a lot. Oh, here's a neat feature. Did you know you can turn off the gas on this rifle? That's right, you can kind of turn it into a straight pull bolt action that's magazine fed by a 20 round magazine. This little screw right here actually turns this little bit, which I'm just pushing in and turning this 90 degrees. That right there, that turned off the gas. It can be adjusted a little bit, I think, but yeah, I'm just going to put this back into the position the customer had it when it came in the door. In any case, this, as you can see, this thing is complicated. Compare this to the average AR. It's very little wonder why this project was behind schedule and over budget, and wasn't really performing up to military expectations. At the time, it was unadopted and replaced with the M16. This M14 turned out to be the shortest serving service rifle in U.S. military history, and it's been replaced with one of the longest serving ones in some form or another. Yeah, the whole system of the M16 has surpassed and gone way beyond any expectations of this particular the adopters of it. In any case, we have a lot of little bits down here. We got things sliding around, rattling. At least these are kind of captive, so long as you don't take off the muzzle device. This is just a flash hider with one slot omitted from the bottom, just so you don't kick up as much dust as you could. But yeah, there's still a lot of open slots, a lot of things for stuff to catch on in your environment. This receiver is big and chunky. Pretty much everything on this rifle is a receiver, a forging, or a big machined solid steel component. There is very little plastic aside from the stock and handguard, and probably whatever's in the scope or whatever. They weren't all equipped with optics, but most of the ones I see nowadays are, just for folks who like to go out and shoot longer ranges. Which, you know, they're a product of their time. A lot of them are capable of 3 to 4 MOA, which by AR standards is horrendous, but it is what it is. End of the day, here is our trigger group. The reason why you had to have it cocked is because, I'm going to go ahead and lower the hammer very gently. The trigger guard is also connected to the mechanism that cocks the hammer. We have a secondary sear and primary sear, and that results in a very nice two-stage trigger pull. This one I measured in at about 4 pounds. There's our disconnect, and it goes back to that nice primary sear. There's really not a whole lot you can go wrong with this. It's mostly sealed, and it's just a little complicated and expensive to produce. Let me put this thing back together, and I'll share some more thoughts with you. Stand by. By the way, if you own one of these and are wondering, should I take apart my gas system? If you can do this with your gas piston, and it just slowly falls on its own, you're in good shape. Alright, let me put the rest of this back together, and I'll check back with you. Stand by. Alright, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for sticking with us. We thank you to the customer who brought in this beautiful old rifle, and let us work on it. I also want to thank all of our customers, past and present, for allowing us to do this wonderful thing called gunsmithing. And keep us in mind for all your future gunsmithing projects. Maybe you want to set your M1A rifle up like this. We can certainly help. We can do tiger striping. We can do finishing. We can set up optics. We can accurize stocks. We can do just about anything you need. In any case, this has been Joel Ellison. Please comment, like, subscribe if you found value in this content. And feel free to share it with your friends, because the algorithm surely will not. It's certainly not our friend, but you can be. In any case, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.